Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Alisha Aisyah binti Shamri, metric number 2649778. I will present about Red Cross Credit. First, what is Red Cross Credit? Red Cross Credit is a specific type letter of credit in which can make the buyer extend the facility of advance payment to the seller against a certain documentary requirement. In other words, under the Red Cross letter of credit, the issuing bank will make an advance payment to the exporter, which is the seller, before they ship the items to the importer, which is the buyer. This is to provide aid to the seller in the form of working capital to purchase raw material, processing, and packaging the goods. The advance payment is done against documentary requirement, which includes written undertaking and receipt. Thus, we could say that Red Cross letter of credit facilitates pre-shipment finance for the beneficiary. Originally, these Red Cross letter of credit were written in red ink, so they are called as Red Cross letter of credit. Okay, next, the advantages and disadvantages of Red Cross credit. There are two advantages of Red Cross credit. First, interest-free unsecured working capital finance for the seller. The most defining and major benefit of Red Cross letter of credit is that the beneficiary, which is the seller, has an easy availability of working capital. If the seller avails a regular means on finance, he may have an opportunity to pay at a lower interest rate, which is between 7% to 15%. So we could see that with Red Cross letter of credit, the seller could save on interest expense. Second, the advantage to the buyer. When the seller can save on interest expense, thus the seller could also pass the benefits towards the buyer. When the interest expense is lower, the buyer will have an advantage of lower cost product. This is the most competitive advantage for the buyer, and we could see that Red Cross letter of credit create a win-win situation for both buyer and seller. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Fatin Fatihah binti Saiful Rizal and my metric number is 264389. So I will continue for the disadvantages of Red Cross credit. So the first one is the beneficiary may not use the advance for the right purpose. As mentioned by Alisha, the main intent of Red Cross letter of credit is to provide finance to the seller to do works for capital needs in order to have enough liquidity to pay for the costs. It also acts as a surety to the buyer that the order placed will be manufactured on time without any obstacles. However, it may happen that the seller will not use the advance payment for its intended purpose, and this action actually nullifies the purpose of Red Cross credit. Next disadvantages is the risk of bad debt. So, in any transaction, when one party gives an advance payment, there is a chance that the receiver may simply take and run off with the money. This risk intensifies when the receiver from another country, and this is an intrinsic risk that a Red Cross credit carries. So the last disadvantages is interest, fees, and other expenses. For your information, Red Cross credit is quite an expensive tool that carries a fixed fee. Plus, the advance payment that issuing bank gives to the seller came along with interest rate. At the time of final payment, the buyer have to pay for the letter of credit amount together with the interest. Okay, next, to prevent the disadvantages from happening, there are some risk management for Red Cross credit. So the first one is letter of indemnity. The buyer can make the seller sign a letter of indemnity. For example, in the case of advance payment, when the seller signs this document, automatically the buyer will not bear the financial loss if the obligations of Red Cross credit is not met by the seller. Okay, next, declaration of intent. The buyer may request to issue a Red Cross letter of credit embedded with clause of declaration of intent. This means that before drawing the advance payment, the seller has to declare the purpose of the said payment. This is to ensure the seller will use the money for the right purpose. And the last one is by using back-to-back letter of credit. This is because the back-to-back letter of credit allows the beneficiary to utilize the issued letter of credit as collateral to obtain further financing. Therefore, by using this letter of credit, the buyer can avoid risk and the seller gets required financing. Okay, next we will proceed to the green clause credit that will explained by Alia and Wani. That's all from me. Thank you.
Next, we move to green clause letter of credit. I hope you guys understand well what is red clause letter of credit, because green clause letter of credit is an extension of red clause letter of credit, which means it's provide the advance not only for the purchase of raw material, processing, and packaging of goods, but also for the pre-shipment at the port of origin and insurance expense. In usual cases, the advance under this letter of credit is only granted after the purchase of goods are stored in bonded warehouses. This type letter of credit are usually used in the transaction that related to commodity market. For your information, green clause letter of credit, firstly, it will be typed in green. Second, it will be state the amount to be advanced.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Shazwani binti Ali. My matric number 265074. Okay, today I will present about difference between red clause and green clause of credit. Okay, for the first point is what are they? Okay, for the red clause, this letter of credit allows exporter an advance payment for working capital to purchase raw material, processing and packaging of goods. Okay, why? For the green clause of credit, it allows additional advance for pre-shipment warehousing at port of origin. At port in origin and insurance expenses apart from covered in red clause. Okay, for the second top point is okay when advance is given. Okay, for the red clause, advance is given before the seller ships the goods. Why? For the green clause, the advance is given after the purchase of goods. Okay, the third point is advance. Advance percentage. Okay, for the advance percentage for red clause is between 20% to 25% only. Why? For the green clause is 75% to 80% only. Okay, for the last part is security. Okay, for the red clause, and it is more risky for the buyer because the advance can be extended even before the production is begin. Why? For the green clause of credit. Why? For the green clause, the green clause is more secure because buyer is extending advance against document of title. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. I am Siti Nuraisyah binti Sulaiman. My matrix number is 255406. So today I will explain a little bit about counter credit based on my knowledge, based on my understanding, and also based on what I have read on the internet sources. So what is counter credit? Counter credit is occur when a letter of credit is issued as a collateral for another credit. So it means here it's to help the seller to purchase another items or services from the subcontractor, who also we could also call it as the supplier and the manufacturer. So next, I will explain regard to the process of counter credit. Basically, counter credit, also known as the back-to-back letter of credit, and also replica letter of credit. So in this case, we have three parties involved, which is Woolworths Supermarket, which is the buyer or importer from Australia, dairy farmers, which is the seller and exporter from the USA, and we also have the Platinum Farm, which is the subcontractor and supplier, and also the beneficiary from Malaysia. So what will they do? So Woolworths Supermarket, they want to purchase 3,000 bottles of milk from dairy farmer in USA. So both of them, Woolworths Supermarket WS and the dairy farm DF, will enter a sale of contract. So And DF, he need to guarantee his payment from WS. He asks WS to issue letter of credit from WS Bank, who act as an issuing bank. So after the issuing bank approve the letter of credit, they will send the letter of credit to DF Bank, which is the advising bank. So the DF Bank will send the document to DF, and he will get the information order from WS, which is 3,000 bottles of milk. So later, DF will get to check the letter of credit and agree. And when DF already agree, WS Bank will make payment on behalf of the WS to the DF Bank's advising bank. However, in these cases, DF have an insufficient material or good, so we have 2,000 bottles of milk. Therefore, he needs to purchase another 1,000 bottles of milk from Platinum Farm, PF, who will act as a supplier and the beneficiary. So, in these cases, dairy farmers and the Platinum Farm will enter another contract. And after they enter into a contract, DF will apply letter of credit from his bank, advising bank. Then he will request to issue another second of letter of credit to the PF bank. This PF bank will act as the beneficiary bank. So the beneficiary bank will receive the declaration from the DF bank and agree on the terms in the document. Hence, in this case, the DF bank, advising bank, he will make a payment to the PF banks. Consequently, after all the payment have settled on three parties, PF will ship the 1,000 bottles of milk to the dairy farmers in the USA, and after dairy farmer receive the goods, he will ships all of the 3 bottles of milk to the Woolworths supermarket in Australia. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Advantages and disadvantages of counter credit. The first advantages is seller is free of credit risk. A letter of credit is safer for the seller or exporter in case the buyer or importer goes bankrupt, since the creditworthiness of the importer is transferred to issuing bank. It is the bank's obligation to pay the amount as agreed in the letter of credit. Thus, a letter of credit insulates the exporter from the importer business risk. The second advantage is seller receive money on fulfilling terms. A letter of credit make the issuing bank independent of the trading partner's obligation and any dispute rising out of those obligations. The bank has to just check whether the documents submitted by the beneficiary satisfy the terms and conditions specified in the letter of credit and pay the full amount. The last advantage is quick to execute for creditworthiness parties. For the elaboration is a letter of credit is quick to execute. As per the initial terms and conditions, the seller or exporter has to present the proof of material type and quantity along with the shipping documents supporting his claim that the goods have been shipped. The advising bank will verify the document and give the full payment. For the disadvantages of counter credit, the first disadvantage is additional cost, which is bank fee. A letter of credit adds to the cost of doing business. Bank charge a fee for providing this service, and it can increase steeply if the parties want to put some additional features. The second disadvantage is time-consuming formulations. For the elaboration is the required document and formalities may be more in a letter of credit. This may also add to the cost of doing business. For the last disadvantages is time bound. A letter of credit has an expiration date, and therefore the exporter has time limitation within which he will have to deliver the goods by all means. At times, this has created a mess.